Yokuso otakus. Today I want to talk about a really cool game demo that I found. It's for this Japanese-styled action roguelike game. It's called YASHA, and it is really, really cool, actually. I was pleasantly surprised. I've come here to my secret, super cool recording lair. That's definitely not a closet to tell you all about it. The game is a pretty standard roguelike, and what I really like most about it, at least what's caught my eye initially and got me to download it, was the graphics on it. It has these really, really cool graphics where it looks super anime styled, almost kind of like a cell shade, but it's got a lot of pizzazz. I really think that it's like kind of Okami. Like it looks like Okami, but like not painterly, which is hard to really fully describe, but the graphics are great, and I really do like that aspect of them. There's definitely a lot of like stylized art. While it's not painterly, it's like kind of comic booky, really. And all the creatures are super cool. They're all based off like Japanese legend stuff, so that's something that's really interesting. And basically you start off and you have access to this small village where you can get swords. Initially you can't get any extra swords, you just have your main sword. And you also have your choice of 3 main characters that you can pick. So the one that I play primarily is the first girl that you can pick, and she's able to have like 2 different sets of weapons. So like I said, when you start off, you go to this town and you only have your 1 weapon, and you kind of get out into your battlefield, and it's just kind of split up into like micro levels. So you'll go to like one area, it starts off on a beach, and you'll have some enemies spawn, and you got to hack them down and stuff. And it feels like, at first I wasn't like totally sold on it. I wasn't entirely sure what to think about it. And the more that I played it, though, it definitely opens up a ton, and it's one of the games, the thing that I complain a lot about roguelikes is like you don't truly feel like powerful, you know? And that's something that like a game like Vampire Survivors or whatnot does super, super well, where you're pretty weak at the beginning and then you kind of watch yourself slowly grow. And this game's like that too. So you kind of start off, things are kind of plain, and you don't get very far. You might make it to like the 1st or the 3rd or the 5th, you know, little scene as far as fighting the monsters and stuff go, but that will change as you keep going and you keep growing. So every couple levels you'll get to fight these bosses, and the bosses they're fairly tricky at the first part. The demo only covers so far. I think it covers the first chapter, but I wouldn't totally know because I can't beat the second big boss. So you'll fight the enemies and you collect little coins as you go along the way, and then there's these little shrines you can interact with. And the shrines are cool too because they have this random chance when you're interacting with them to have like a cat come out, and they have these really fun like little boxy cats. I think the company uses them for their logos, and they'll give you like extra goodies. If not, you get like a coin or a healing item or something that's like beneficial to you. And you'll continue to go through the levels, and you'll have basically the same health at the beginning, you know, for the first part of it, and fight tougher and tougher challenges. And then you'll fight these bosses that have pretty fun mechanics, and you have to like maneuver around them, and the fights are a lot bigger and a lot longer. You know, there's a lot of just getting your butt whooped, and then eventually though you'll die, because that's just how roguelikes work, right? Like eventually you'll die, and when you die it gives you the message, you know, death is not the end, and you'll come back to life at this like really cool kind of like tree of life kind of its structure, and you talk to this spirit, and you'll get to use some of the currency that you gained while you were fighting to use for like upgrades. And the upgrades are really cool. They're really well thought out, I thought. It just, you know, I mean, they're kind of standard, but you'll get like, you know, bonuses to your health, bonuses to your attack, you know, more chances to do your dodges, and it just kind of increases your skills, your abilities, the amount of things that you can do, and then you're back at it again. And as long as you're able to beat like the first boss, you'll get the currency to collect like the beginner swords, and you can kind of go through, and in the first little town that you're in, you can use like the coins and stuff that you've got to get these new swords. And each of the swords are really cool because they all kind of have their own style. So the initial one is just nameless, and it's kind of a pretty standard sword that you have to use. It's got a light attack and a heavy attack, and you get bonuses, that make it more powerful as you go through each of the levels. But the other thing that's really cool is that you can use these other swords, and they're all kind of like, a bunch of them are themed. So there's a water sword, and as you use it, you collect like water sources, or like a fire sword, and you'll collect fire sources. The one I really like to use kind of is like a cherry blossom thing, and so you'll collect these cherry blossoms, and once you have so many, you can press a special button and like burst them out, which is really, really awesome. I super like that a lot. As you continue through the levels, once you beat each of the smaller levels, you'll get like a chance to like upgrade, like you get kind of random upgrades for the weapons that you have. So the Nameless Sword has pretty standard upgrades where you can have a stronger weak attack, you can have a stronger big attack. But then the theme swords have really cool stuff too, where not only it expands, like the flower one, you get like more flowers that you can collect, which means when you use them, it's like a more powerful attack. But it also has ones where it like changes like what collecting those powers does. And so you can choose kind of how you want to craft your adventurer based on how you play using those. And it's really, really cool. It's great, and it's just kind of a fun little like discovery thing. And it definitely makes you feel more and more powerful. It's really repetitive, like most roguelikes, where you're kind of playing the same levels over and over again. But for me, it was like this really good experience that you go through because you're constantly seeing new things. And the other thing that I like too is that even though you kind of go through the same level schemes, as it continues on, some of the levels kind of get randomized a little bit. So it's not exactly the same layout every single time. I mean, in the demo, there's a lot of similarities, but I did find in the later levels that it kind of separates it out. So it's like I thought I was knowing where I was going to go next, and then it turned out I didn't know where I was going. The boss that I can't beat right now is like this octopus boss, and he's so cool. It's like this big torii gate comes up, and he rushes out of the water, and he has big tentacles, one on the left and one on the right, and he's essentially invincible against your attacks, and you have to destroy each of the tentacles. And then once both of them are down, he'll lose the shield that he has on him, and you can attack like his core. But it gets tricky as heck to take out the different tentacles that they have, because while you're attacking one, the other tentacle might slap down at you and attack you, and the main core head of the thing is like spitting out like toxic stuff, so it'll spit out like a goo, and it'll make you walk really slow when you're stuck in those areas. So you don't need to avoid it because it doesn't hurt you, but it slows you down and it makes your movement really hard. And then to counter that, he uses like a water spitting attack where he spits these blobs of water, and you have to kind of be really meticulous in how you're running around on the screen, because you want those water droplets to not hit you, because those will hurt you. And you want them to hit kind of the tar stuff that's being put on the ground, because it'll clean the tar up. So it's just kind of this juggling motion you do with all this stuff going on. And I found it really, really challenging, but also really engaging. And the more I play through it and the more I repeat it and upgrade my character and try out new weapons and learn the fighting styles better and stuff, the farther I get on this boss. And I know that I am going to defeat him like eventually, which is just really cool because it doesn't feel like futile. It feels like you want to keep getting better to defeat him and win. So that's kind of the core gameplay. Other than that, the music is really great too. I will say in the demo, I guess they haven't completely perfected the translation yet, so there's actually still some Japanese text that's left in, and there's kind of some sloppy English. But I did read like the patch notes on it, and they said that in the full version of the game, you don't have to worry about that being in there. It's going to be totally polished up and done really well. The full game comes out in April, but I've gotten a ton of hours on the demo, so I highly suggest you check it out. It's on Steam right now. I'll put a link in the description below. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about this game because it's just something I stumbled upon that's a demo, and I think that anime fans, people that like gaming, and especially roguelike players, that like Japanese stuff would really, really dig this one. It's great, and I think it's going to be awesome when the full release comes out for it. So be sure to check this one out and I guess wishlist it or whatnot. I'm not affiliated with this company at all. If you like the content, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down and subscribe to Yokuso Otaku for more anime news, reviews, and gaming, and probably not any more videos in this closet because it is uncomfortable and small, but it's part of a joke, and if you get it, you get it. Catch you later.